But at the end of the day, like, it's just having a chat, you know what I mean? Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with SamPaul, and I'm very excited to be out in the country, South Australia today at the LessIsMore farm, and I'm joined today by Dean. How you going, Dean?
Yeah, good, Sam. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, and thank you so much for having me and for the coffee, and I've even got an Espresso Martini. Ooh, I spilled some.
It's 12 o'clock somewhere.
It is. It's drinking time somewhere. Oh, damn, that's really good. They did tell me they make the best in the Flurio, and I stand by that comment. So tell me, what's the basic kind of premise behind the LessIsMore farm? You've obviously got the farm so close to the cafe. So what's the idea behind that?
Oh, I guess background was broadacre farming in the upper southeast near Meningie, and it's not always easy farming as a business. So you decided to make a bit of a sea change and do the parts of farming that I actually like. It's easier to do a job, I suppose, when it makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. So
100%.
we try and work with nature a bit more. We've done a lot of 20 years of continuous cropping and a lot of spraying, and didn't see that as a way that was going to work for us. So we're a bit more organic. I've always you do the things that your ancestors do a bit, I guess. I've picked up a bit of like for cooking from mum's side. They had a bakery shop, so I like food, like being self-sufficient and growing my own stuff, and knowing where my food comes from, I guess. And we've got a beautiful view here right up to Adelaide all the way. So you just want to share it with people and offer whatever you need to, cafe, glamping, things like that.
Yeah, I did see when we first spoke with your wife Michelle that you do some glamping and so forth out here. Do you get when's sort of the most popular time of the year for that? Is it more in the summertime or?
Oh, it is a lot, but I guess in the city not everyone has a wood fire, so people do love being here in winter so they can have a little campfire, even though it's fairly cold, I think, but they love it to have a fire and toast some marshmallows and all that sort of thing. So most weekends it'll go all year round. Certainly it is more popular through school holidays and summertime for sure. I do
love the fact that like in South Australia it seems like it's such a close short drive really going from the built up metro area to like somewhere like here, which is absolutely incredible. I could just sit here and drink coffee all day and look at that view.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously summertime's beautiful, but sitting in here in front of this fire with a glass of red in summer watching the storms isn't half bad either.
So what do you sort of specialise in here? I mean, obviously you mentioned being organic and knowing where your food comes from, but what is your kind of like specialty? Like what would be the go-to if someone was to come here and wanted to experience what you're doing sort of in the cafe and so forth? What would be your recommendation, I guess you could say?
Oh, well, I guess it depends what you're into. We do farm tours on Saturdays, so if you want to go for a bit of a walk around the farm, get back to basics, make butter and damper and feed our animals, things like that. The tours certainly to go. We produce our own Dorper lamb and Berkshire outdoor pork, which is just next level compared to pork that's mostly imported. So we have our farm shop, so we are still first and foremost farmers, I guess, so we try and sell all our meat through our own shop. So you can come here and have a coffee. We support local Paxton wines who are organic, biodynamic, have a similar ethos to us, and you can have a cheese platter and taste some of our lamb or pork on one of our combo platters and things like that. So it's sort of a food cellar door where you can get wine rather than a winery where you might get a cheese platter with it, sort of thing. So either or. So we wanted a way of people to come back on a regular basis to get their food from us, really. We've been doing the farm tours for a few years during COVID, but you're not going to come and do a tour every time just to get a kilo of our snags or things like that. So we thought farm shop's what we need.
What about the menu? Like I saw some pretty amazing looking food on the menu you've got in this place here. What would be your recommendation?
Well, I guess I'm a sucker for a lamb burger, so I mince up lamb leg, so it's not the poorer cuts or anything, so the lamb burger goes really nicely. I guess some people, after a lot of questions, our friends make buffalo halloumi down the road at Buff Love, so a lot of people wanted a combination of buffalo halloumi and lamb. I haven't tried one myself. I'm one or the other, so at this stage, but that does go fairly well on the menu as well by the average punters. So
you did.
It's called the HM burger, which is halloumi and meat, isis. high maintenance for me because, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. You did mention sort of off camera about the buffalo halloumi. How does that sort of differ to, the halloumi that most people would be familiar with?
Oh, I think it's just a better taste. Also for allergies too, I guess. There's a reasonable amount of people that can drink buffalo milk that can't handle the lactose in normal cow's milk. I can't say I've been a big halloumi eater all my life.
Yep.
But yeah, this if you just toast him off nicely in the pan and eat it while it's warm, it's next level. I've had a whole block of it served up to me years ago. It was quite rubbery, and I thought, well, why do people eat this? But now that I've been shown the way I cook it now I understand what it's all about. So my background is mostly with our friends halloumi, and I wouldn't eat anything else now.
Yeah, right. So get it, go away. It's a fly trying to get on camera. So does buffalo milk not have lactose in it, or is it just different?
Just different, I guess. Yeah, there's not a lot of people seem to know about it, but if you've travelled through Asia, people that have been here, they seem to know that buffalo milk. Oh yeah, I can buy some of that because we have had 2 litres of buffalo milk stocked in the fridge before, and they know they can drink that over cow's milk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, that's why I'm asking more about it, because I'd never heard of it before myself, and like myself and my son, I wouldn't necessarily say we're lactose intolerant, but I definitely notice the difference in myself if I drink too much milk. But I'm also a big milk lover, so I'm just curious. It sounds like a very interesting alternative.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I've been drinking oat milk a lot of the time, and that's great and all, but there's also downsides to that because it's obviously oats and stuff. You don't want to have too much of that in your diet, apparently, is it? So, that's really cool. I love the fact that you guys are very kind of, I guess, about the environment that you're working in. It's really good to see that kind of side of things because coming from the city, I guess, where I'm living in, it doesn't. We talk about the environment and about doing the right thing by the environment, but I mean the sheer nature of that of where we live doesn't really lend itself to being too environmentally conscious. Like most of us have got our cars or even buses, which obviously are better than a car, but still not, great for the environment. And we're all about mass producing this and that, and it's not great. So it's really good to see something, and like I said before, like being so close to the city, it's not very far to come. Like I came down here today and it was a nice drive and not far at all, and it's just like a whole different world here.
Oh, it is, yeah. And quite often it'd be 10 degrees cooler here than in Adelaide. It's just perfect. You can see it out the window, but you're not actually living in it. I've always lived on a dead-end road in the middle of nowhere for most of my life until we moved here 11 years ago. So, it's perfect for me.
Yep.
You can see it, but, I don't like to be a part of the concrete jungle too much if I can help it.
No, that's fair enough. Is there anything else that you kind of, I guess that, you really take pride in what you guys do here that you think is worth mentioning, like something that you want to share with the people watching? And
lots of people go with their quotes by famous people, whereas I've got a list of quotes written down in my book from people I know locally, and that means something when someone says something insightful, so I write it down. So
cool.
I guess I try to do the bits of farming that I like for me mentally, because farming the way I used to wasn't all that easy for the head side of things. So a couple of old farmers around here, one says, because I can have done a few different things, I guess, you're the man that can do anything. And I thought, well, he doesn't even actually know some of the things that I do. I guess that was just a throwaway comment, and I thought, well, why am I working for someone else doing something that's not really making me that happy? If I can do anything, I should be doing exactly what I want to do. So that's a good reason. And then also I was president of the Myponga footy club for 5 years, and the guy said, look at the social side of things. You and Michelle really bring people together. And I thought, that's what you want to do here for a farm shop, I guess.
Definitely.
And host people. So there are a couple of things that people have said to me, they don't even know that's made a difference, or I've written it down or anything like that, but it's just you take on board those little comments. So I guess in the 80s when I was farming as a child, you had lots of relatives come and see you, everyone knew a farmer. Fast forward 20 or 30 years, not many city people know a farm, and I guess
definitely
everyone votes and things like that, so I'd like to see people how we farm to make a balanced opinion of what they actually think, not what they see, because news and social media always pushes an agenda. I think.
Most definitely.
If you don't put your side of the story across, well, you can't complain about someone having an opinion you don't agree with, I guess, if you haven't shown them your side of things.
Yeah, exactly. I've always thought that too when people say that they're going to do a donkey vote at the elections and that. It's like, well, don't complain about the system if that's what how you're going to operate, because you're not really helping the situation at all.
Oh, not at all, no.
You know what I find most interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just dawned on me as we've been chatting, it's funny that, in the metro area where I live, it's like everyone's sort of packed in like sardines. We all live very close to each other, but there seems to be a very distinct lack of community, whereas you guys, like, for all intents and purposes, live like quite far away from your neighbours and so forth, by comparison, and yet you seem to have such a community kind of attitude and vibe going on here. I can't help but feel like that's sort of where we should really be moving back to, whether we obviously live on a farm property or in a metro, but the whole community thing, I think, is really getting lost.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I guess for us it was a big change in life to uproot where we'd been for 3 generations on a farm and move. But we moved to a country area, so when you're country people, you hook in and volunteer and you play sport and your kids play sport.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to meet people as the township grows in there, or people come from the city, they drive back into the city for work and they don't always come to the club, they don't always integrate as easily. It's not that hard, really. You just show an interest in where you live and participate and meet people. It's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah. No, definitely. I get a little bit of that with the fruit shop that I work at, because it's a family-owned fruit shop, and it still maintains a lot of that community aspect, which is lacking in most places that I shop anyway. It seems to be kind of more about shareholders and profits and stuff, whereas where I work, it's sort of more about just giving good produce to people at an affordable price, which I dare say is kind of probably similar to what you guys are doing here. You're cutting out the middleman essentially, because you're growing it, you're manufacturing it, and then you're selling it through your own channels. So you're saving on because every step always adds on a profit for them. And by cutting them out with what you do, you're essentially kind of giving people a good affordable product, and you know how it's grown because you're the one growing it. So
that's it. Yeah, the probably the hardest thing is the processing side. It's all geared towards supermarkets and things like that, so it's not easy being a small producer that wants to retain ownership of their product. But if someone doesn't have a crack, well, it's all going to go the way you line up like sheep at your local supermarket and get what you're given. So you can certainly, it doesn't cost much more, I don't think, to support a local farmer or a veggie grower or whatever where you can.
Definitely.
I think you're crazy if you don't want to know where your food came from a bit better than what you do at presently, and the less numbers on the back of the packet, the better it is for you. So.
Don't even get me started on those numbers. Yeah, I mean, I could not agree with you more. Like you're everything you're saying makes perfect sense. I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, people seem to kind of care or know more about, for example, putting, say, like a premium petrol in their car than they do the food they're putting in their body, and yet it's fundamentally the same thing, but it's your actual body, you don't even need a car if you kill your body, kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, I think people definitely need to take heed of what you're saying, and become more aware of what they're putting into their body, where it comes from, how it's grown, it's...
certainly, studies I've seen since the end of World War II, the nutrient value of even your vegetables is way, way down, so, I'm no picture of health because I like my red wine and chocolate, but people are fatter because they eat more food because the food has less richness and nutrient density, I guess. So you eat until you feel satisfied, and you're eating more because your food is of lower quality, I think.
No, you're 100% right. I've read some studies that refer to like how a lot of the larger, say, grocery stores and things like that sell fruit and veg, for example, how they're growing in one location to supply the whole of Australia, and so the travelling from basically from where it's grown to where it's sold and eaten is so great that in that time the nutrients diminishes significantly. So exactly like what you said, like we might be eating the right foods, but they're not nutrient rich like they used to because we're so far away from where they're being grown.
No, that's right. And I guess that's the whole philosophy, how we want to farm. It's a whole entire farm. Nature doesn't really like monocultures, and so when I was cropping, you want to grow pure malting barley in one paddock and pure wheat here and there, whereas nature really likes diversity. You look around at any of the landscape that no one's fiddled with, and there's all sorts of animals, all sorts of plants, trees, and things like that. So yeah, that's why we try and run as many animals as possible. It's not just about having everything that you want for self-sufficiency and things like that, but that's how nature works. So you really just got to try and help it along rather than try and fight against it. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably one of the biggest, you just highlighted there, one of the biggest problems I think is we've constantly tried to go against nature when nature is not one to be messed with,
No.
So I think what you guys are doing here at LessIsMore and other people like yourselves is paramount to us surviving long term. We need to get back to kind of that way of doing things and respecting the land as opposed to trying to work against it.
Yeah, no, that's it. So there's a couple of really bad mistakes like foxes and cats and rabbits, I suppose, that are going to be hard to reverse. But
well, that's right. Yeah,
certainly.
But as you said before, if we don't try.
Oh, that's right. You know where. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, I really appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat and talk to me on Coffee with SamPaul. So thank you very much, Dean. Really appreciate
your time. Thank you for coming down.
The coffee and the espresso martinis. Probably should just make mention the shirt that I'm wearing today. Anointed One is my weekly shirt apparently. From Grow Clothing in Melbourne. They are my clothing sponsor for the show, and they make me look fresh, so thank you for them. And thank you to Michelle and Chloe for making the coffees and the martinis. Never had a martini on the show before, but I could definitely get used to it. And honestly, if you get down here, try the martini, because it is honest. I've tried a few of them, and this is the best I've had, without a word of a lie. It's amazing. So, and like Dean said earlier, it is 12 o'clock somewhere, so I don't feel bad drinking at all.
No guilt.
So yeah, so thank you again.
Cheers, thank you.
Bye, man. Peace.